And good afternoon. It's Thursday. It is 3:08, and it is time for you to be adrenalized. That's right, folks. It's time to get that blood flowing and get re-energized. Why? Because you're here. You're alive, and it's time to be motivated to be your best self. Hello, everyone. This is Tom Marino, Success Strategy Coach. Welcome to the Tom Marino Show. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening on this little bit of a dreary day. I see some clouds are rolling in. For those of you that are on vacation this week, I hope that you're enjoying yourself, spending time with your kids, time with your family. And, you know, this is a great week because the Mets are doing really well. And as long as the Mets are doing well, Tom Marino is doing well. So last week, we did a little conversation on trauma, and today we're going to shift gears a bit. But before we do that, I just want to remind everyone that the Tom Marino Show is sponsored by Newhouse Restoration. You can visit Kristen and Josh Newhouse at newhouserestoration.com, where they take your old house and make it a new house. And, you know, give them a shout out, give them a call, check them out on Instagram at Newhouse Restoration. And if you ever have any fire, flood, mold, sewer damage, you know, they're your people to call. And it's, you know, today on the show, I have a very special guest. His name is Andrew James. Andrew is from PSI Construction. He's the owner of PSI Construction and Restoration. So, Andrew, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
All right. I'm so glad that you're here. So, Andrew, tell us a little bit about your business and what you do.
Okay. So we own a general construction company that does commercial and residential construction and house restorations for historical homes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What historical home have you worked on and gotten to do some work on?
We've worked on like the Marconi building in Rocky Point. We've worked on that. That was the first radio building, obviously.
Oh, that's awesome.
One of the first or something like that. And then we've worked on like historical homes throughout Miller Place, Stony Brook, you know, where we have to adhere to historical house, you know, society, you know, conforms and color choices and, you know, how big they want you to cut cedar shake.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of restrictions, right,
yes.
on doing that stuff. Wow,
yes.
that is awesome. So you have had tremendous success in the recent 18 months.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to starting your business?
Yeah, I was working for another company, you know, just didn't like the atmosphere, didn't like having to be told what to do, when to do it. Mm-hmm. So I decided to take the little bit of savings I had and, you know, buy a truck, a trailer, and I knew construction already.
Right.
I've done it in the past. So when I started a business to where I prided myself on having that 5-star customer satisfaction reviews on Google, make sure every customer is happy and satisfied, you know, and it's just blown up from there to,
wow.
You know.
Did you ever think that when you started out with nothing that you would be where you are today?
No.
In 18 months?
No.
Not, let alone, you know, you've built a very substantial business, we'll say, you know, and what is it that you think is the secret? You said customer satisfaction. What else do you think is a key secret about you taking that leap and that plunge into this direction?
I guess, you know, like we said, customer satisfaction, but also perseverance. You know, you have to persevere and overcome certain obstacles with any new business.
Yeah.
And just having that drive and, you know, keep going and just, you know, anybody who tells you it's easy, it's definitely not.
It's not, right? It's work. You're doing a ton of work. You know, this is Tom Marino and the Tom Marino Show. If you're just tuning in, we're speaking with Andrew James of PSI Construction and Restoration. You can actually find PSI Construction and Restoration at psiconstructionny.com. That's psiconstructionny.com, and you have an awesome Instagram handle, right? It's PSI Construction NY as well on Instagram. I always see your post and everything that you're doing and the incredible work that you're doing and, you know, the quality of work that you do.
Yes.
You know, you mentioned before, you know, the perseverance piece, right? And the obstacles. What were some of the big obstacles that you had to overcome?
I would say, you know, marketing yourself in a way so that you get the business, you know, coming in lower than other people, but not low enough to where you're going to cut your own throat or hurt your business.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's hard sometimes, you know. Sometimes you want to be that lowest bid so you get the job, but you also got to make money as a business,
right?
You know,
absolutely. And this is a struggle that a lot of businesses have, is especially the services that you provide, right? You're providing restoration, construction. You're taking somebody's home and you're transforming it for them. As a coach, I take people's life and I transform it for them, right? And how do you put value on some of those things? And you, like you said, it's a very important thing to not devalue yourself, right? And now as you get more and more business, that value changes, correct?
Oh, of course. You know, your value goes up because now you have the reviews, the quality of work, the footage to prove it, photos, all that.
Right.
To where you can show somebody, hey, even though I'm a little higher than the other guy, this is the quality and service you're getting with us.
Exactly. And that's what it is about value. You have to determine your own value. You know, I talk about this all the time with my clients, especially small business owners who struggle with their own value because they're more eager to get the business than to hold to their value, right? And sometimes you don't want to be the lowest bid. I always know I go with the middle bid when I do projects on my house. I always want that guy in the middle.
Yes.
Right? So, you know, obviously it's working for you, whatever you do.
Yeah, that's funny that you mention that because that's what I tell homeowners when I go on an estimate. I tell them get 3 other estimates or 4 other estimates. You don't want the lowest guy, but you don't want the guy that's, you know, 30,000 higher than the rest.
Exactly. And that is a key point because I tell people the same thing when they're looking for a coach. I tell them, go and talk to other coaches. I want you to talk to other coaches. I want you to meet with other people and see how you connect and how you fit. And then you decide who you go with. And hopefully I'm the guy you select. But at the end of the day, just saying to someone, go get 3 other bids and see how I come in, that demonstrates confidence. Where did that confidence come from for you?
Just knowing the quality of work that I know personally I could produce. And I instill that in my whole team of guys that work for me as well. Right. And they have the same mentality. So I've built like a nice, tight little team to where they have the same mentality of let's get it done right, build it nicely, and, you know, make the customer happy.
You know, that is awesome. Do you feel you know, a lot of people struggle, especially small businesses, struggle with finding the right people?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, did you find the right people right away or it took a minute?
No, it took a few tries.
Okay.
But like I have an amazing project manager. His name is Billy. He's absolutely dynamite. He handles the whole aspect of running each group of guys and teams, you know, and then I do pretty much all the estimating, office work, stuff like that. And I check on every job every day.
That's fantastic. And how many jobs do you have running right now?
27. 27 at the moment.
You have 27 different crews?
I have 38 employees at this point.
In 18 months?
Yeah.
So if you're just tuning into the Tom Marino Show, we are talking with Andrew James of PSI Construction. And Andrew, 18 months ago, didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, right?
Basically.
You didn't have close to 2 nickels to rub together. Now you have a business where you have 38 employees and you have 27 jobs in progress.
Yes.
That is success.
Yeah.
That is tremendous success. And you've persevered through all of it.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy, right?
No, I've had my sleepless nights worrying about jobs, where the money was coming from for more material to continue the job. And it just happened to work out for me, you know?
You know, that's such an important point. No matter how good things go, sometimes things can stress you out. It's people often that stress you out. We're in people businesses, right? I mean, you have clients and customers and you want to do the right thing by them. And it's hard to serve so many different people at different times, and that could become a real challenge. But we're going to get back into this conversation after our commercial break. So this is Tom Marino and the Tom Marino Show. And listen, I want you to check out PSI Construction NY on Instagram and psiconstructionny.com. Also, during the break, if you get a chance, go to Tom Marino Coaching on Instagram. DM me if you are interested in scaling your business, because I am sure that I have some people that I know that'll be able to help you with that. All right, we'll talk to you right after this break. Hey, this is Tom Marino of The Tom Marino Show here. Imagine you wake up and you've had a major sewer backup in your home. Well, let me tell you about a company that I've worked with personally, New House Restoration, where they take your damaged old house and make it a new house. For any water, fire, mold, or asbestos damage, please call them at 631-604-8590. That's 631-604-8590. New House Restoration. And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. This is Tom Marino, your host and success strategy coach. Welcome back to the show. Today we are speaking with Andrew James of PSI Construction and Restoration. Before the break, we were talking about, some of the challenges and persevering in building your own business. And if you're a small business owner out there and you're struggling to scale your business, it takes a minute to sometimes figure out what the next direction is in the road forward. And sometimes when you have that rapid growth, it could really throw you for a loop, right? So in 18 months, Andrew has gone from 0 to 27 projects, to more than 27 projects probably over the course of that.
At this point.
Yeah, I mean, how many have you probably done at this point in 18 months?
Probably starting out, it was only like 2 or 3 in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it upscaled probably to like 30, 40 at a clip. And then over the last year and a half, well over 100, 200.
Yeah, it's incredible. Just, there's such a need for construction on Long Island. Everybody is renovating. Well, I mean, everybody's renovating their house because money is free. I mean, the interest rates are just incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really helped people to do more with what they want to do with. And I'm sure that helps your business, but what are some of the, we talked about persevering and overcoming obstacles in the beginning of this show. What's one of the biggest challenges right now that you've been experiencing?
Just customers' expectations, especially on certain ends of the business. Mm-hmm. They work within a certain budget.
Okay.
So let's say they give you the $30,000 budget.
Right.
Well, in that $30,000 budget, if you're doing a huge master bathroom, you can't go and pick out, $50 square foot tile. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just for the floor, and want to tile all the walls and pick out a $4,000 vanity.
Right.
Because you have to factor in the time for the guys, that are going to the job, the materials, so all these things taken into account.
Right.
What your end budget is, really.
Right. And you have to coach people through that process.
Yes.
Of getting to their reality, right?
Yes.
People's taste and people's pockets are two different things.
Exactly.
And how do you set expectations for people when, what do you do from the very beginning that helps you to guide them through the process a little bit better?
Oh, I just be honest with them, and I set parameters. Like, let's say you're doing vinyl flooring in your house. I set a parameter, to where if your budget's X, you can pick out $2 to $3 square foot vinyl flooring.
Right.
You want the $4 to $7 vinyl flooring. That's an accrued cost onto the project. Mm-hmm. It doesn't cost more for us to lay it. It's more of just a material outlay.
Right.
That I usually let the customer choose if they want to do it. I mean, it doesn't cost me anymore. I'm already having the guys there laying the similar floor.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So did you always have that figured out, or you just kind of through practice really developed the best way to make this happen?
I think.
What lessons did you have to learn the hard way, Andrew?
So I think through practice, you learn everything in this business.
Right.
You're going to make mistakes. You're going to trip over yourself. You're going to lose money on jobs.
Right.
There's no learning scale or a learning curve that you can go based off of, or a guide that tells you how to do the construction and restoration and all that, so you make mistakes and you learn from them,
right,
and you try not to repeat them,
and you learn how to figure out how to not do that going forward, like you said, not to repeat them. And I think that's something that holds a lot of people back sometimes, right? Is they're afraid to have those setbacks. They're afraid of what that experience is going to be like. And I think it's really incredible what you just said there is that you're going to lose money on jobs sometimes because you're going to, and God knows the cost of materials went through the roof because of COVID. Mm-hmm. My cousin's also in construction, and he was telling me, you know, he has to add 30% on top of his estimates as a framework.
Oh yeah.
Are you doing something similar like that right now?
Yes. So you have to, because when I started the business, the price of a 2x4 was $3 for an interior 2x4. Now that same 2x4 is $8.
I know,
you know,
insane.
So
it's more than double.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
So, and then shipping delays too are also a factor now,
right?
With everything, you know, getting certain materials,
right,
stuff like that. You have extended shipping delays.
How do you control what you can't control, like shipping delays and stuff like that? How do you manage through those kind of situations?
So I try to get a jump on it early.
Okay.
So from the moment we take a job, if I know certain items are going to have a shipping delay, those are the first things I'll order. So that as we're doing the demo for a week, doing, you know, putting sheetrocks back, stuff like painting, by the time those finishes, by the time you're to that point where your finishes are coming, they're arriving too at the same time we're ready to put them in.
So it takes a lot of planning.
Yeah, it takes a lot of, you know, figuring everything out pretty much.
Yeah.
You know,
and you know, it's sometimes you are flying by the seat of your pants, but then you learn the importance of making a plan, of setting a project plan in place, really. I mean, and that's, and the great thing about you now, you also do a lot of custom work on restorative, historic places and things like that.
Yes.
How do you replace something that's old, that's not, you know, not really available anymore? How do you do that?
We usually outsource something, like let's say it's a molding or something like that.
Right.
That a crown molding that somebody hand milled in a garage somewhere, like 1800s. We'll either try and restore that piece, or I will bring that piece to like a millworks, have a custom bit made for it. They'll mill it new pieces for us to where it's identical to where we can restore a home, you know?
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, do you have like the historical guidelines on what you can and can use in terms of material, or is it pretty much just make it look the same? How does that go?
Well, with historical society guidelines, it's usually not the interior of your home so much as the exterior.
Gotcha.
They want to maintain, if they have, like, let's say you have that plaque in front of your house that says this house was Thomas Edison's from 1862,
right,
his birthplace or something.
Right.
They want you to make it look like it did from a historical photo, but that historical photo is black and white. So they look back in the records to see what colors were on the house to its latest date, to where they might have recorded it. And then sometimes they make you go based off of that, or they give you a set chart of these are the 4 colors you can use.
That's awesome. How did you get into, what was your ambition to do restoration to older historic and older properties and things like that?
I always had like an affinity for like antique cars, old toys, you know, stuff like that. Like I collected old toys as a kid, you know, from like the 40s and 50s, you know, stuff like that. And I always found it fascinating that compared to the toys of today that are all plastic, those are metal. You could drop them off your roof. It's going to get a dent and a scratch, but it still worked, you know?
Right.
So I just applied like my fascination with restoring stuff, like the old car end of things, to the homes, you know, since I had the construction company.
So let me ask you this question. Do you love what you do?
Oh, absolutely.
You love what, I could see it.
I wake up every day. I love it.
And that is the thing. And just because you love what you do doesn't mean you don't have stress, doesn't mean that you don't have obstacles to overcome, doesn't mean that life is easier. But your passion for things, I always tell clients, especially when they're trying to figure out what the next steps are, I go to what you know. Go to what you know, go to that natural skill, that natural interest, the thing that you just have a passion for. And that's what you're doing when you are restoring an old home. Oh,
yeah. I'm going for something that I could fall back on that I know, and I just love it. I love the finish. I'm one of those that likes seeing the product in its worst state,
right,
restoring it or building it, and seeing the whole process come to life, you know, as people say.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because that's what I love about doing work, and even in my house. Like, I just love that whole process of taking something down to the bare bones, putting it back together and the outcome and the aesthetic after it's all done is just incredible.
Once you get to step back and look at it and be like, wow, I did that.
Yeah. And you made that happen.
Yep.
All right. We're going to talk more about that after this break. But for those of you who are just tuning in, we are speaking with Andrew James from PSI Construction and Restoration. You can find him at psiconstructionny.com. That's psiconstructionny.com. Also on Instagram, same thing, PSI Construction NY. And if you haven't already checked out my website, please go to tommarino.com. That's tommarino.com. And listen, if you're a small business owner, you're struggling to do exactly what Andrew's doing, the way he scaled his business, fill out a contact form. Let's set up a complimentary session, and let's get you on your road to success. All right, we'll talk to you right after this.
Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room. Because I'm happy. Clap along.
And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I am your host, Tom Marino, Success Strategy Coach. Thank you for tuning in on what's turning out to be a gloomier Thursday afternoon. I hope that you have some exciting plans for this weekend. I hope that you are being adrenalized by this conversation that I'm having with my special guest in the studio today, Andrew James of PSI Construction and Restoration. Andrew has been here speaking about his experience and how he's built his business over the last 18 months. And, you know, during the break, he and I were talking a little bit about how sometimes, you know, putting out yourself into the universe to do what you need to do is both vulnerable, yet risk-taking, yet it helps you to get to where you want to be.
Oh, yeah. You're definitely going to fall and hurt yourself here and there, you know? But it's a matter of getting yourself back up, dusting yourself off, and going at it again.
Right.
You know?
And not quitting. Right.
Yeah.
And learning from each experience and each opportunity as it comes.
Oh, yeah.
And not letting those things get you down. I mean, I'm sure you've had moments in the last 18 months. Like, I could just imagine. I'm sure there's been a moment where you go, what is going on?
Oh, there's been moments like, what am I doing?
Right.
You know, to where I'm just sitting there, hands on my head, shaking my head, going, how do we fix this?
Right.
How do we resolve this? You know?
But the key is you're finding out the way to do it, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I talk to people all the time. I tell people that the keys to success are really three things. One, it's showing up consistently. Mm-hmm. Two, it's doing the work. And three, it's trusting that the process is going to all work out the way it's supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, luck is also part of that. And people will call it luck, but I also think it's when you do the work, when you show up consistently, the universe supports you and brings the right people into your life at the right time. Would you say that that's happened for you? Oh,
yeah. I mean, all that, being consistent, because I'm the type of person that if you make an appointment with me at 9, I'm there at 8:55, you know? And then I make sure every time the crew's there, if you do hire us, they're there half hour before your job. They have a group meeting about what's going to happen, and then they go in and go to work, you know? And it's a little bit of luck as well. Like, I mean, I've just, you know, you get that feeling when you feel somebody out who wants you to do work for them, another company or something like that, to where you know it's either going to vibe or it's not.
Right.
You know, it's either going to be a nightmare or this is going to be good. And you align yourself with the right people at the right moments to where it's good for you. And if, you know, you keep that positive attitude, positive vibe going, usually it snowballs into something great.
Right. And that's the thing. It's finding the right people that align. You use the word align, right?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, when you're building, you got to make sure that wall is aligned.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Or it's going to fall. And that's the same thing when you're building a team. That's the same thing when you're even making, you know, choices in your own life. You have to make sure everything aligns. And when it doesn't align, that's when you have some stress, you have some conflict. It's not necessarily a bad thing to have stress and conflict. It's how you resolve it. But how do you resolve your stress? This man who's working 6 days a week here, you know, on his business, how do you...
I mean, you have to find the proper outlets that work for you. You know, I've tried everything from riding motorcycles to, you know, remote control cars to paintball. Paintball's just what does it for me,
Okay.
you know?
Well, if you're out there right now and you also relieve your stress by paintball, I can't think of a better way sometimes than shooting other people with some paint and having some fun and having a little bit of tag. It's a fun activity. You know, I think that's one of the things that I see a lot of the people that I work with as a coach is they don't always have that hobby. They don't always have that outlet. How has that really helped you to be able to overcome your stress? What has it done for you?
It gives me that opportunity to clear my head, focus on something completely the opposite spectrum of work, you know, where it's a fun event, you're running around, you know, shooting at other people, like you said, you know, it's just, and in those moments, you're not thinking about work anymore.
Right.
So when you're done with it, you're like on an adrenaline high almost. So you're still not thinking about work even after I go home. It's not till Monday morning when I wake up, I start thinking about work again, you know?
When you wake up on Monday morning, though, are you refreshed and ready and excited for that day?
Oh, yeah.
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 You see, I don't think Mondays should be this bad thing where you dread going to work.
No.
Do you ever dread going to work on a Monday?
You got to do what you love.
It's-
You got to find your passion in everything.
Exactly. And, you know, it's really important. You know, if you have a question you want to ask Andrew, we can open up the phone lines, 631-451-1039, 631-451-1039. If you have a question for Andrew or me about what we're talking about and all of the work that Andrew does on his restoration and construction business, you know, stress is definitely something that stops a lot of people from doing stuff. And, you know, when you take action, you know, I talk about the adrenalized mindset all the time. An adrenalized mindset is about acting decisively, having all the tools in your repertoire to be able to act decisively. And sometimes when we get overwhelmed, we don't always take action. Our only action is inaction. You know, if you didn't take action 18 months ago, when you didn't have 2 pennies to rub together, now I've gone from pennies to nickels to pennies.
Yeah.
When you didn't have that to rub together, you know, what would have happened if you didn't do this work?
If I didn't do this, I would have been in a, you know, regular 7 to 3 or 7 to 4 grind of just waking up on Mondays, like you said, and being miserable.
Yep.
You know?
But you took action.
Yeah.
Did you know what you were doing all the way?
I knew what I was getting into. I knew what it was going to take. And I mean, I was scared, you know, just completely petrified at first, but
What was your biggest fear?
it not working out and me investing everything, time, money, everything into it.
And is that fear true anymore?
No. You know, I still worry, you know,
Yeah.
is this ball going to continue rolling, continue growing? But I feel like if I do the right thing like I have been, there's no other option. It's going to continue to grow the way it is.
Right. And that's the key, right? In the face of fear, as long as you continue to do what you know is right, as long as you continue to do exactly what you want to do, and you know that it's the thing that aligns the most with you, fear is really negligible at that point. It's not going to take over your life. And not everybody has that courage to build on something, to take the risk. They give into their fear.
Yeah, no matter the job, too. I've always had that mindset of failure is not an option.
Failure. Well, I say failure is the first attempt in learning. It's not an option, but it is if it happens.
If it happens, you can fall down. You can, you know, like I said, but I've always just lived by that. I can't fail. Like
Absolutely.
if I keep moving, grinding, and going every day, how could you fail?
Absolutely. So, Andrew, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today, and I really appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation. You are an inspiration to so many people. You know, you may not even realize it for those that are listening to you right now. You don't know how you're touching their lives, especially if there's someone who's trying to figure out what they want to do, and they hear your story of how you've gone from zero to what you've gone to in a matter of 18 months, just because you trusted yourself, you believed in yourself. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So how can everybody reach you? Tell us how we can reach you.
They can reach me via the website, psiconstructionny.com. They can reach me via telephone if they want, 631-214-4820. That's Yelp 99% of the time, get me directly.
Fantastic. Wow, you answered that phone line.
Well, I have it transferred from office to me, to the phone that's on me.
Okay.
So if I'm not in office, the office won't ring. It just transfers right over.
You know, that's part of showing up consistently, right? That's the key. Well, I appreciate you being here, my friend.
Thank
you.
you
for being here today. All right, everyone. Well, we are going to take a commercial break. But again, for those of you who want to reach out to Andrew from PSI Construction NY, it's 631-214-4820. That's 631-214-4820. And you can go to psiconstructionny.com. That's psiconstructionny.com. And if you haven't already, please go to my website at tommarino.com and leave a comment on the radio page about this episode, or if you're listening for the first time and you have a question that you want to ask. I want to hear from you. I want to answer your questions. I want to help you out. So go to tommarino.com/radio. Check out that. There's a comment section at the bottom of that page. And tell me what your thoughts are. All right, we will talk to you after this commercial break.
If you feel like happiness is the truth.
Hey, this is Tom Marino of The Tom Marino Show here. Imagine you wake up and you've had a major sewer backup in your home. Well, let me tell you about a company that I've worked with personally, New House Restoration, where they take your damaged old house and make it a new house. For any water, fire, mold, or asbestos damage, please call them at 631-604-8590. That's 631-604-8590. New House Restoration.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you.
And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I'm your host, success strategy coach Tom Marino. Thank you so much for tuning back in. Today we had a really great guest on the show. His name was Andrew James. He was from PSI Construction and Restoration. I highly encourage you, if you are looking for someone to really build you something new, take care of something old, he's your guy. psiconstructionny.com, psiconstructionny.com. But, in our conversation, one of the things that I found really intriguing is that he really allowed things to happen for him in many ways. And I always talk to you about the importance of trusting the process and trusting that things are going to happen for you the way they need to happen for you. You're going to meet somebody in your life that is going to shape something different and is going to serve some kind of purpose in your life. And you don't know what purpose that's going to be. And this week, one of the big topics on with a lot of my clients has been this fear of losing someone. It's been a really big topic of, one of my clients is afraid of losing their partner. Another one is afraid of losing a client. And another one was afraid of losing an employee. And there's been a lot of this fear of losing someone. And, I always say people serve a purpose in our life. Whether they come into your life for 30 minutes or they come into your life for 30 years, they serve a purpose. And when I was talking to my clients, I shared a story about how I lost a client recently. I had been working with this guy for over 6 months. It was almost 8 months by the time we had renewed and everything happened. And, for me, it was an important client to me for many reasons. And I was very attached to having this person as a client because I thought I could really help him and help him to get to where he wanted to be. And when he said to me, he called me up in a panic one day and he said, I need to stop our coaching sessions and I need to take care of some things. And what was upsetting to me was he was in crisis and he was in a time in his life where he really could have used my help and support. And he wasn't going to take advantage of that. And it made me think about, what was I doing? What am I doing wrong? Or what am I doing that should be done differently? Like, what am I doing? Like, is it me? And then I realized, you know what? There's a reason that this person is leaving from my life at this moment. He's probably served his purpose for me at this moment. And it made me think really deeply about some of my own words that I've written in the past about purpose and people who come into your life for a purpose and for a reason or for a season. And this guy left and 3 new clients showed up that same week. 3 new people became clients of my coaching. 3 new people needed a coach and took advantage of the opportunity to work with me. And at the same time, I said, holy cow, one door closes and another one totally opens. One door closes and another one totally opened. 3 more people that I needed to make space for. I didn't realize what I needed to do. I didn't realize that I needed to have this client exit in order for 3 new people to show up. Now, some people may say, well, Tom, somebody didn't really exit so you can have 3 more people. Yeah, and you can look at it that way. But at the end of the day, for me, I looked at it as the opportunity that presented itself, and I needed to clear out the things that were in the way so that those people can come into my life. And that's what I want you to recognize. If there's someone in your life right now that's holding you back from doing what you want to do, if there's a job in your life that you're working at and it's holding you back from reaching your potential, if there's a relationship that you're in and it's no longer serving you and it's not what it was supposed to be for you, it's time to let it go. But it's time to let it go in gratitude and in love. You have to leave a relationship. You have to leave a job. You have to get rid of someone in your life that, or just get them out of your life because they're not serving you and not helping you. Put it out there in gratitude and love. Because when you put it out there in gratitude, you leave that peacefully. You recognize that that person's purpose in your life is different now. They have served their purpose. You know, I was talking to somebody earlier, and we were talking about this, and he said to me, when somebody gets sick, somebody gets diagnosed with cancer, or somebody has a condition where they really need support, the people that you expect to be there aren't always there. They're not always there. Yet someone in your life enters. Someone maybe you know or someone you didn't know. That person comes into your life at that moment when you need them most. And those people are there to carry you through. And then maybe when you get better, or your illness is done, or whatever it may be, somebody passes away, whatever ends that relationship, that person may tend to move on or stick around because they got you through your toughest time. But whether they move on or they stay with you, they're serving a purpose for you. Sometimes we have to let go of someone so that someone else can enter and serve a purpose for us that we don't even know we need. Just like losing a client was not the funnest thing for me. I don't like to lose clients. I like my people to stay with me, to continue to see them grow, sustain what they're doing. But because of that client, 3 other clients came in. Open the door, people. Don't have the fear of losing someone. Don't have that fear of missing out, that you're no longer going to do X, Y, and Z, that you're not going to have that person in your life. You're maybe meant to find somebody else. You're maybe meant to allow someone else to come in. And if you trust the process, someone is going to enter that is really going to be of benefit to you and for you. So whatever you're dealing with right now, if I'm talking to you right now, you want to get out of that job that you just can't stand anymore, let's start to make a plan to make that happen. Make a plan. Set your sight on something you really want to do. Like we were talking about earlier, go back to what comes naturally to you. Start with what comes naturally to you. I was talking to a client earlier today, and she's struggling to figure out what she wants to do next. I said, what are the 3 things that you love to do? And she rattled them off. I said, start there. Figure out a way to make that work for you. Let go of what you're holding on to. Let go of some of those beliefs that are getting in your way, that are not allowing you to move forward and be the person that you want to be. Allow yourself to let go, and let go in gratitude and in love. Because when you let go in gratitude for the person that is leaving your life, you can express gratitude for the person that's entering your life. And that's what it's all about. We have to see the world differently. It's not that they did this to me or they wronged me in some way. They wronged you in some way. What'd you learn from it? What did it allow you to change in your life? When somebody wrongs us, it's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to experience exactly what we're supposed to experience so that we can move on. Be grateful that that person gave you that experience. I said to someone earlier, I had a bad boss in my life. I've had several. But it showed me the type of boss I don't want to be. And now, I'm not that person. So you never know what the opportunity is going to be. Let go in gratitude and love. All right, everyone. This has been Tom Marino and the Tom Marino Show. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Visit me at tommarino.com. That's tommarino.com. And follow me on Instagram at Tom Marino Coaching. I'm always on Instagram, people. DM me a question. If you have a question you want to ask, DM me at Tom Marino Coaching. If you want to talk, you want to work through, you want to get unstuck, you want to be adrenalized, visit tommarino.com, fill out a contact form, or DM me on Instagram. All right, this is Tom Marino saying, until next week, choose your adrenalized life.
Oh, yeah, I'll be just fine.